Okay, share my desktop. Okay, welcome. Welcome to our event today for the webinar about what's new and new feature for VSTS. First, let me introduce myself. My name is Mohammed Radwan. I'm Visual Studio ALM MVP, DevOps Practice Lead at Testhouse. And it seems, let me see here. First, maybe we have any problem. No, everything working fine. So we provide the different practices for software development, for testing, and all life cycle under development. And okay, so first, if you want to reach me, you can reach me on my blog. Here is my blog, and this is Twitter. If you want to ask any question, you can follow me. Okay. First, let us talk about what we will introduce today. We are going to introduce the Visual Studio Continuous Value Delivery and how Microsoft Visual Studio team, they start changing the way they ship the Visual Studio team services and TFS. And then we are going to talk about the new cadence and releases and how they are working in a different ways. Then I'm going to give an introduction about our webinars and video today. Actually, first, I'd like to introduce the main idea about the Visual Studio Team Services and TFS. And then from here, I will start introducing what we are going to do for our webinar and roadmap. And at the end, we will go through different demos that highlight the last sprint for VSTS Sprint 102 and see the different features in a demos about that. Okay, so when we talk about Visual Studio Continuous Value Delivery, when Microsoft starting moving to the cloud and introducing TFS services, this is the old name, and then they keep changing the name and they keep changing the feature. And at the final shape, they have different cadence or different updates for Visual Studio and TFS. So for example, we can see that we have like now a sprint each 3 weeks for Visual Studio Team Services. And we have an update each 3 months. So if you want to get, all the update about, all the TFS and VSTS, probably this will be through, following the new feature in the VSTS. This is why Microsoft recommended to go for the VSTS, so you can get the benefit as soon as they deploy that. So this is the cadence, or this is the releases for the Visual Studio, or this is the roadmap for how they shape the feature and updates. So if we're going to talk about the latest cadence, we can see that here in the VSTS, we have different sprint, and we can see, like, as we spoke before, it is 3 weeks sprint. So let me see here. Okay, great, Neil, thank you. So we can see that here in VSTS, we have different sprint by numbers. And so we're reaching for sprint 102. This is the last sprint, which is the last week. The sprint which we are going to highlight today for some demos of the main feature of this sprint. So as we can see, this is how the sprint for the VSTS. And if we look at the number of sprint, this will reflect the number of weeks for example, 102 sprints, that's meaning almost 300 weeks of working, which means like 5.5 years. When Microsoft and Visual Studio teams and Brian Harry, they decided to change the way they work from traditional development to Scrum, and the having a sprint on 3 weeks basis. So it's really reflects significant change the way that Microsoft Visual Studio team they used to develop that. So in the TFS, we can see this is what shipped so far. We have TFS 2015. We have update 1, which is just released. In this one is yes, and we have update 2 and update 2.1 and update 3. Um, as we spoke before, we have an update for each 3 weeks, each 3 months, which collect different VSTS sprints into one update. We can see that we have update 2.1, which is, then the team, the VSTS or Visual Studio team decided to ship this update to not wait for the update 3. And update 3 actually doesn't have that all this feature and bug fix as what existing in update 2, because they focused more on producing the new version of the TFS. And as we can see here, even the TFS, the new version preview is available, which also available from the last week. And as we can see here, there is significant change, by the way, for the name, because it changed from, because it's a little bit maybe confused for some people, like it is TFS 15, not TFS 2016. Of course, it's still under preview, so they may change that. We don't know. But I really appreciate the new name because it's really reflect many things. For example, like the Windows, when Microsoft is starting the Windows with 98 and then 2000, and then changing this strategy to be Windows 7, Windows 8, and then Windows 10. So now we are going, I hope we ship that like TFS 15, TFS 16, and so on. And this also will reflect, mapping the same version for the DLL, because anyone working with TFS or Visual Studio DLL version, there is some confusion about the version and the DLL version and the TFS or Visual Studio version. So now you will see that the version of the TFS or the Visual Studio will matching the number of the product. And actually, I think this is a good improvement for the naming. But we hope that this will keep going. So this is the main idea for the cadence and releases for the TFS. Okay, so our webinar and videos roadmap. First, this webinar has to be like, you need to watch this webinar now, because it will be uploaded automatically to our YouTube channel, and then you can watch that in any time. So the main idea that you can be here now, or you can watch that later. So it is, it's up to your time. So when you can find the time that for you. Also, I thought according to the VSTS and Microsoft Visual Studio team roadmap for the TFS, we thought that it's better to start introducing the new feature for the TFS and VSTS and the next version or VNext for the TFS. So we thought that, okay, let's introduce this as a webinar and videos so we can get some, share this information or share this practices with the community and with the companies. So we don't have a final plan about that. Actually, we based on your feedback and what you like to see. If you would prefer to see demos for the new feature, if this is something you really think that this is important to see, or maybe you need to see it or to get more information about other items and the product. But this is the main roadmap for our next webinar or next videos, is to start to get feedback about what the people more like to watch and see. Okay, so today I'm going to go through some demos for the last sprint, sprint 102 for VSTS, and take the most highlighted feature for that sprint. So as we can see, this is we are going to make 7 demos about that. So let's start from resizable work item chart on the dashboard. So if we go here to I think this will be yes. So we have here a project, and as we can see, so let's go for the backlog. Let's have a quick item PPI 1, PPI 2. Let's add some of our requirement to the backlog so we can have like so the main idea now, if I went to the queries and just make query, let's say PPIs, and I went to charts, new chart. So if I display that chart into the dashboard, let's go for the dashboard. Then we can configure this and resize this. So this is one of the major the feature. We can have different size. We can also change that here. So we have a configuration and changing the title and all of that. And of course, this could be and save that. So work item, we can change the size and how it displayed. Okay, so we can filter port to apparent work items. This is also one of the feature in this sprint. So for example, when I have these PPIs, let's create some parent so we can understand that. Let's create feature 1, feature 2, and then let's turn on the mapping. Maybe here it's better with the mapping. So I put this feature here, and I will put this under this one. So if we go for the feature, for example, we can see that we have this hierarchy now. So if I want to filter that hierarchy, I can go very easily like, okay, let's go for the board. This is for the parent. And if I go for the child, for example, I can filter the child based on the parent work item. So if I click on filter, then I can see, for example, I just need that child based on this feature, or maybe on this feature. So that can be, as we can see here, filtered based on the parent work items. Okay, let's go for the next links front and center. Yes, okay. the adding a new control for the PPI. So for example, if I go for the feature now or any work items, we can see here this control in this section. I mean, let's put it here. This new control, and as we understand, part of having a new work items is to having the ability to develop extensions for the work items. So this the new control, which is related work items. So now we can add link for existing work items or new items. So let's, for example, have a new item. This is a feature we can add. Let's add a child and the PPI or product backlog items. PPI 5. Okay, and save and close for this PPI. So as we can see, we can track that back. So this is one of the good feature here. So we have also test setting configuration for Kanban board. Looking at that as well. So if we go for part, which is a PPI or feature, whatever, on the Kanban board, we can see that on the settings, we can have test and we can change that. So in the previous, before this sprint, when you create a test case, it's only be created in in the corresponding test plan according to the area and the iteration, but control which test plan these test cases will be created. So first, let's create test plan. And okay, and this is the main idea. We can even create maybe another test plan just to show something. Okay, so we have different test plans here. So again, it's very useful now that I could go for the board and going for the settings and for the test and select when I add a test case where this test case will be. So here I can select which test plan. This is a test plan I just want to. So now it's configurable. And then when I add now, let's add test. Oh, sorry. This test case should be added to the test plan I selected. So if I get back here and then refresh my test plan, then we can see that we're having this test case added based on the settings or configuration. And again, it's configurable. Before that, you can't control that because it just went for the corresponding iteration and the area. Okay, another feature for this sprint is image action log in with test runner under the test section. So let's go for when we went for the test, and let's let's run this test case and see this feature so we can understand exactly how we. So if I run this test case, then here I have this feature which all about capturing the user action and recording them in an image. And this feature available on Chrome as a Chrome extension. So of course, when we click on that, because it's not installed in the Chrome, of course, I can go first install the extension and then going back to run. But again, you can do the same here. So first, let's talk about this extension. Exploratory testing extension. As you can see, it's still in preview, so it is not the final product, and it is free during the preview. So if you want to try this, this application and to see if it is, you like that, then you can use it for now. But when they having the final version, it will be under Visual Studio license. So you need Visual Studio either Enterprise Edition or the Test Professional. So you need to make sure about that. So, and it's a Chrome extension actually, and it's really useful for capturing the image as a steps. But we will see that and how we will do that. But okay, so let me bring the window here. So yes, let's install that. So again, it's an extension, add to Chrome. Yes, this is one of the very good feature about having a marketplace for VSTS. And as we can see here now, exploratory testing preview here, and we can run that. So again, let's now it's added. Okay. Pre-launch, so we can start. Now start. Let's see what will happen if I just starting with this feature. It will just ask me which tab I want to capture the image. So let's start by, for example, this one. Yes, so if we go VSTS demo, then we can, anything I click, it will here it will be captured in one big image. So, and as you can see, it's still recording. No, it's not. Okay, let me start from the beginning here. My plug. Let's start from the beginning here. Okay, just test. Please refresh the highlights windows. Okay. Let me see how here what's happened. No. Okay, run again. Yes, that's it. So we can see here, now it start recording in Testhouse main. Okay, stop again. It seems I need to restart the browser, but I don't want to do that. So exploratory testing, maybe I will use it for that one. New update feature, read. Okay, I will use, no, this one. Even I can't see here any. Okay. When I click here, it should open all the tabs, but because I have two screens, it seems only show some of them. Please refresh the highlighted windows and okay, where is the test suite? This is the one. Let's do for that. When I click here and click any link, the main idea, it just captures the image during the steps. I don't know why, maybe because I have two screens. So, and when it's record all this action, when I finish, I just click stop, and then it will be attached to the test result as well as any bug created. So let's have create a bug. Okay, yes, I think it's. So we can see here, this is all the information captured during that. If we go for links, we have here result attachment, which is the image. So if I open the image, I can see that all the steps here on this part. So it show me all the steps I go through with an action, and of course, as you can see, even what I click and so on. So I think it's a nice feature. And of course, also this will be displayed with the test as well. So if I went for the test, and then let's go for the run. So this is the last one. So if I Now we can see, okay, not this one. Yes, I didn't finish that one yet. So let's create this bug. One. So I create this bug, and it has the attachment with this action recording as an image with the text, and then I just save and close. So this is the last test run. So if we go for, again, for the test run, yes, we can see that this is a fail because this one failed. And here, this is a attachment here. So it attached to the test result as well as the bug created. Actually, this is one of the extension. I think, I mean, it maybe needs sometimes to talk about that extension because it's not small. I mean, okay. So now we get order test in Test Hub. Yes, this is one of the feature also introduced here. So, for example, before this sprint, ordering that it was just let's create new test suites. For that, the suite was actually sorted alphabetically, but now we can just drag and drop the suites, so we can sort them according to the, to the order we need, arbitrary order for them. Pick the build to test web. In this feature, we can select the build we want to run, but we need a source code. So let me go for another project which has source code. So we can look at that. Okay, so if I go for the build, I have a small application. So let's run the build, for example. If I take this one, queue the build, this will run the build. So when I run the build the application, I can select which build I want to test against my test cases. This is the main feature. Waiting for the build to complete. Okay, now the build is complete. So if I went for the test, I can select the test case and select run with option, and then selecting from here, query all my builds, and selecting, for example, the last build. So now this test run and test result will be against this build number and in this application. So this is one of the things here added. So I think this was a small introduction about some of the highlighted feature for this sprint. There is some other feature for Azure and release which required huge infrastructure creation, and our session may, or our time may not be able to cover all of that. And this is why we would like to get a feedback. If we, for example, if people interested to see how we create this release management with Azure, and we may even cover feature for uh, like small features, like two features in one webinar, because the feature is maybe need more time and so on. So again, it's all based on the feedback that we are going to run the next webinar and videos. And again, the video will be available on our YouTube channel, so you can watch that and see that later or anytime. And we will try to run that on a regular basis. We hope that we will have like one webinar per month, and we cover all the feature and the new. So again, based on your feedback, we are going to improve the next webinars. So if you have any questions, you can ask on Google Hangout. If you we have a Google Hangout has a feature to ask a question, and we can reply that. Or okay, so let me open if to see if there is any question here. Or okay, it seems everything went well. So thank you so much for listening, and we hope to get your feedback. Thank you.